Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for everyone that's joining. I want to thank you. I have Bruce Collins here. We're going to be going through specifically connecting electric utilities and the point-to-point side. So Bruce, without further ado, send it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Again, this is Bruce Collins. I'm the product manager for our point-to-point portfolio here at Cambium. The topic today is we're going to be looking at different solutions for connecting electric utilities. So this will be a little bit of a mixture of applications and examples of how customers are using our product in the electric utility space. Then I'll do a quick run through of the products. For those that aren't as familiar with Cambium, I'll kind of hit on some of those products, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions. So if you want to put questions in the chat window on your webinar interface, then we can take those as they come, and Andrew will kind of read through those, and we'll weave those into the session as we go. So as a little background, Cambium you may know Cambium as being a provider to service providers and other industries around in different verticals. But one of the verticals that we see a lot of growth in is in the electric utility space, and we see a lot of applications that both the rural co-op as well as the large operating companies around the world are using the Cambium's wireless solutions to solve different problems. So we're going to cover that today. Some of the drivers that we see in this vertical or this industry, there's a ongoing move towards distributed energy resources. So this is everything from the charging stations that you'll see with electric cars to solar panels to other types of wind and other generation capabilities. And as those are remotely or rurally deployed, being able to tie those back into the infrastructure from an IT or communication standpoint becomes important. We also see almost a day doesn't go by you don't hear about cybersecurity threats and the ability to be compliant with NERC CIP standards. One of the things that we have built into our solutions from day one is the ability to deliver secure communications, and that's not just the secure encryption over the air, but protecting the management interfaces and putting in capabilities in the product. For example, to be able to change the manage password control and manage multi-user access to systems and audit what's happened and what's changed on the systems. All of these things help operators become compliant with the NERC CIP standards. Outage costs, the ability to quickly locate a fault, isolate it, and restore service is a huge opportunity to save costs and to differentiate an operator over other utilities. Having disaster recovery scenarios in place, having wireless communications in case the fiber connection gets cut, having communications to all parts of the organization can help with reducing those outage costs. So we see that as another driver. And then the last one on the list here is the ability to deploy broadband services out to the field area network. So this is while the technician is in the field, there are a number of different applications that we see evolving and emerging for those field area networks. And I'll go through some of those applications as we look at the details. If we look at an overall end-to-end utility system, starting with generation on the left, going through transmission and then distribution, I'll show you here what we see as Cambium's vision for how to overlay this electric utility operation with wireless broadband. And what you'll see here is certainly a very typical or traditional approach is to offer a licensed microwave ring. So this is licensed point-to-point in a ring topology that can provide a high capacity, multiple gigabits per second backbone around the geographical area that's covered by the utility. Off of that ring, there's a number of spurs or nodes that go out to either substations, SCADA masters that are collecting SCADA information from the different remote devices, as well as out to the automatic meter reading infrastructure that is collecting the information from the smart meter aggregation devices. And so you'll see in this diagram that you have the ability to take advantage of licensed microwave as a backhaul or as a backbone, then transport point-to-point links out to the remote areas, and then using our multi-point capabilities to aggregate large numbers of devices before passing them up over the transport system. So we see the opportunity to deliver data from complete end-to-end solution all tied together through our cnMaestro management system that provides a single pane of glass view as far as what's happening from an end-to-end perspective on the communications infrastructure. For some of these substations, there'll also be a need to supply high-capacity broadband for things like video surveillance, safety and security, the ability to provide remote access for the technicians while they're in the field so they can get access back to the corporate infrastructure. So you can see that as we've added our Wi-Fi capabilities, you now see both a transport capability from end to end, but also a access and Wi-Fi capability at these critical or strategic substations. So some of the applications we hear about and that we see customers deploying, I talked about remote office connectivity. This is again the ability to have a technician in the field essentially use all the same applications that are available to those employees that are back in the central office. So you see access to all the different services that might be accessible there. Smart meter aggregation, we have customers that are using our PTP 820 or PTP 650 and even our PMP 450 to aggregate data coming from different smart meter aggregation devices. With our CN Pilot product, we can provide Wi-Fi coverage at substations and remote operation centers. So this is again the ability for a technician to go into the field, use the same devices, whether it's a smartphone or whether it's a laptop, and get access to the network. And then we see an area that is growing and can definitely take advantage of some of the higher capacity systems that we have, which is substation and distribution SCADA data. This is the information that both for monitoring and control of critical infrastructure with our solutions that can be reliably and securely deployed across wireless as either a primary transport mechanism or as a backup mechanism. And you'll see additional products coming from Cambium in the future that delve deeper into this part of the applications. Remote access control, again, this is in addition to the SCADA applications of monitoring, can actually go out and control the different reclosers and access different parts of the electric utility distribution system to maintain availability. And then we talked about before about the fault location and service restoration. This is about identifying those faults, having the ability to instrument more nodes in the network and get access to data from more nodes in the network brought back to a central location will assist the utility in reducing downtime and getting the system back and running as quickly as possible. The next one on here is analog circuit replacement. This is a traditional leased line replacement application that we see across all of our verticals. The ability to eliminate those monthly fees and the operating expense that's associated with those and go to a private network can save not only the operational expense budget that goes out the door each month to the local telephone company, it can also provide more control over the network, more security, and more reliability. So we see a lot of utilities eliminating their analog circuits that they've been deploying for many years and going to a broadband solution that completely eliminates that and puts it on a private network. The other thing we see is that a lot of the telecommunications carriers are eliminating some of these basic analog circuits, and they'll no longer be you'll no longer be able to purchase those from the carrier. So in many cases, the only alternative is to go to a much more expensive digital line or go to a private network. So this is an area that we see significant opportunities to replace that with wireless. And then, of course, video surveillance is out there. Video surveillance is what you think of most often with video surveillance is protecting assets and protecting employees for security purposes, making sure that you're keeping people out that aren't supposed to be in there in a substation or wherever part of the distribution system. We've also been hearing about utilities deploying video surveillance just purely for safety aspects. They want to be able to monitor when an employee is on site in perhaps a hazardous area, but be able to remotely monitor them and make sure that nothing happens to them, and in case, and so they'll be able to react more quickly in case an accident occurs, and they'll be able to see what's happened. So those are some of the applications and use cases that we see in the utility space. When utility operators are looking at wireless, the things to keep in mind when you're looking at different wireless technologies, you want to compare capacity versus range versus spectrum. There's a number of areas to discuss in this part, which is how much capacity you're looking for, how much coverage, and then the big piece is what spectrum is available. Cambium offers both unlicensed and licensed spectrum, and everything from 900 megahertz up to 38 gigahertz in different spectrum. So each of those selections will have an impact on the capacity and range, as well as the exclusive access or not to that particular spectrum. We recently launched our 900 megahertz product, which gives the best propagation in the portfolio, as well as a reasonable uptick in capacity over previous generations. So that's an interesting one to take a look at in the 900 megahertz spectrum. When we talk about network topology, essentially you can leverage all these different topologies in a utility environment, whether it's point-to-point, as I mentioned on those spurs, multi-point for the ability to aggregate different data. Mesh can be deployed in certain cases either for Wi-Fi access or for building up multiple point-to-point links that provide some resiliency in backhauling different parts of the network. And then the ring topology is a very common high availability deployment for those backhaul networks. I talked a bit about licensed versus unlicensed. This is again, we have products in licensed sub-6, the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum, 3.65 is lightly licensed, and then unlicensed in the sub-6, which is essentially the 5 gigahertz license band, the 900 megahertz, as well as the 2.4 gigahertz. So there's a lot of different bands to choose from in the unlicensed space. And then in licensed bands, we also offer our P2P 820, which is the ability to operate anywhere from 6 gigahertz up to 38 gigahertz. The other topic you'll hear about is the ability to do line of sight versus non-line of sight, and this is another trade-off. Essentially, if you're below 6 gigahertz, you can do some non-line of sight. If you go below 1 gigahertz, you can do significant non-line of sight, and that's where we see a strong suit of the 900 megahertz solution. And then when you go above 6 gigahertz, those are going to be line of sight solutions. Security is important, so all of our products have security built in from day one, whether that's encryption of over-the-air data or the protection of the management interfaces and making sure that you know who's logging into the system, that they have the appropriate authorization and credentials to log into the system, and then that we're auditing what's actually been changed while they're logged in, so we know who logged in, what they changed, and when. The quality of service is important, the ability to pass both control data and important critical infrastructure data over the network, being able to share voice data over the network, and then just basic internet access. So quality of service allows you to prioritize different sources of information. And then network management, this is sort of a key piece and important from Cambium's perspective, that we are able to deliver the end-to-end management using our cnMaestro solution that provides a cloud-based management view of every device in the network from end to end. So you get a nice single pane view. I've got a screenshot on that here in an upcoming slide. So again, some of the benefits to utility in looking at these different trade-offs are the ability to reduce reduce outages, manage the power quality, reduce operational costs. This is important for utilities as they look to reduce the monthly OPEX, and in many cases, a little bit of capital expense up front can significantly reduce the operating expense down the road. So this is a key area for deploying these field area networks, is to the trade-off between a private network that I completely own and control and can secure versus a public network that I'm going to be paying a monthly cost, and I have to track all those different devices. I have to manage who has access to the 4G network, who has access to which device. Did I stop using that device? Can I stop paying for it? There's all the operational overhead of using a public network that can be eliminated by going with a private network and having that completely owned and under your control. And then finally, minimizing the security risk. This is again about NERC CIP compliance, video surveillance, and then that centralized access control. So whether I can control lift gates and remote access into the substations. So I'll give you a quick view on the Cambium technology. As I mentioned, when we look at a complete network, we're looking at across the bottom of the screen, starting in the lower left, long distance transport. This can be done with our point-to-point 650 or our PTP 820. Then we get into distribution. This is with the PNP 450 or ePNP to distribute to large numbers of multi-point nodes. And then when you get out to the edge, either our subscriber modules for our PNP products or the CN pilot to deliver Wi-Fi access to the end user at those remote locations. So the products that cover the entire spectrum there, and then you can see that from 200 kilometers to 2 meters, but then also a CN Maestro that provides an overall planning, provisioning, network management across all of those devices. So I'll take just do a quick look at the different products. PTP 820 is our licensed microwave portfolio. This consists of 3 different devices, the 820S, the 820C, and the 820G. And each one of these has different capacity and capabilities. The 820S is the sort of entry point, has a single core radio. It's great for standard point-to-point links. The 820C steps up the game to significantly more capacity and also has dual core to support some different topologies, whether you're talking about 2+0 or east-west type configurations. And then the 820G is a fully featured, essentially extra I/O, so I can do all my E1, T1 circuits as well as standard Ethernet in a split mount architecture. The PTP 650 is our unlicensed point-to-point solution below 6 gigahertz. This deploys up to 450 megabits per second and can be deployed anywhere between 4.9 and 6 gigahertz. It's low latency, very rugged, very secure, and provides all of those features that the IT department of the utility is going to be interested in, things like the migration to IPv6. This has the most feature-rich security capabilities for NERC CIP compliance, as well as 1588 and SYNC timing for precise timing applications. The PTP 650 also features something called dynamic spectrum optimization. This is important in unlicensed bands, the ability to see what's happening across the spectrum and then always optimize to find the best available channel. So with DSO, the PTP 650 can find where sources of interference are and avoid those and jump to a channel that is the most clean and gives you the most fade margin, the most reliability. The PTP 650 and also our PTP 450i products go through significant testing, design standards for harsh environments. You can see some examples here. We're testing these products to the most rugged environments around the world, and in many cases we're testing against military standards to make sure that these hold up to things you can see here with wind and dust and water, salt fog, which is important for coastal environments where you're going to be exposed to salt spray, and then the shock and vibration that goes on with the handling and transportation of these devices. And then each of these radios goes through 100% temperature cycling at the factory. So again, when we're talking about the utility vertical, reliability and ruggedization is very important, as these have when you're deploying a capital expenditure like this and you're looking for a long product life cycle to fully achieve that payback, as well as the obviously the critical infrastructure nature of the electric utility environment, is to make sure that these devices don't fail. And so we do 100% temperature cycling. This means every unit goes through a full temperature cycle from -40°C up to +60°C, and does functional testing at each one of those temperature ranges. So we know that when the unit leaves the factory, we know that it works across the worst case temperature scenarios. So I mentioned the security is built in from each of the layers. So we talk about physical security to prevent tampering, prevent unauthorized software. I've mentioned previously the management security, encryption over the air, and then with these products we also seek validation from third parties that we're following best practices on security. So we make sure that we scan all the ports, we make sure that the system is locked down and is not susceptible to these cybersecurity vulnerabilities. One of the areas that I'll mention here is spatial diversity. This is important when you're talking about going over long distances over a flat surface. So this might be in a very rural area where I'm going over a large flat surface or going over water. The products feature a capability called spatial diversity that allows you to deliver reliable services across these highly reflective environments. So I'll move to our PTP450i. This is a product we launched late last year. This is also a ruggedized platform, and it supports 4.9 to 5.9 gigahertz. So this, you can see in the environment here, it's highly ruggedized. It's available and connectorized or integrated. This product delivers today around 130 megabits per second, and with software upgrades coming through the year, this will increase up to about 250 or 260 megabits per second in capacity. We just recently, well, in fact, the PTP450 at 900 megahertz will actually start shipping this month. This is a new product for us. It operates in the 900 megahertz spectrum, which gives you excellent propagation. It operates in that 902 to 928 ISM band in 900 megahertz, so it's the unlicensed portion of the 900 megahertz. Available in different channel sizes, and you can see that it mates very nicely with that 12 dBi Yagi antenna that you see in the picture there. So we see this as a great application for long distance coverage, providing capacity for utility applications in that 900 megahertz spectrum. We also offer our PTP450 platform. This is what's used in this product is it's available in the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum as well as the 3.65 gigahertz. So this is the licensed and lightly licensed spectrum. So some electric utilities that are interested in a licensed solution, the PTP450 is a great alternative for that. And similarly, we offer the PMP450, which is our multi-point solution. This is the most scalable architecture or scalable platform in the industry to deliver lots of capacity to lots of end nodes. So you can deliver up to 238 end nodes off of a single access point, and using our synchronization capabilities, put multiple access points on a tower in multiple bands on a tower. So just significant amounts of scalability and capacity that can be deployed in a reliable, secure fashion with the PMP450i. And the other thing is, if you haven't seen this product, this is also relatively new. You can see that we've introduced this new ruggedized packaging as well for the 450i. So now you have not only the scalability and performance, but importantly for the utility industry is that rugged enclosure, which is IP66, 67. The 450i also supports an 802.3 AT compatible power scheme. So this can cut down on the number of devices that you need in the architecture to and increase the reliability. So if you have a PoE switch, you can power that 450i directly off of the PoE switch. And then it also has an auxiliary port with PoE output. So you can put for example, a PoE power over Ethernet video camera on an output port and automatically have both a video camera co-located with the radio as well as your payload data that you're collecting from that remote node, and essentially eliminating the need for a switch in some cases. Just like we have the 900 megahertz in point-to-point, we're already deploying a point-to-multipoint version of the 450i in 900 megahertz. You can see here both the subscriber module uses that Yagi antenna in the upper left, and then we have the access point in the lower right, which is a 900 megahertz sector antenna. And again, similarly with the PMP 450, we have that product available in the 900 meg, 2.4 gigahertz, and then those license bands in 3 gigahertz, as well as, of course, all the different 5 gigahertz. So lots of options with the 450 in selecting a spectrum, and then, of course, scaling up once you're in that particular spectrum. One of the things we see with disaster recovery scenarios is the need for rapid deployment. This might be in the case of restoring service to an area, and you need quick communications to either the crew that's out there working the system or being able to put in a backup scenario so that if a fiber gets cut and I need to go quickly deploy backup communications to a critical port of the network. This is the quick deploy positioner. It works with our 650 as well as our 450i platforms, and essentially what this allows you to do is go out and power up a radio, and it will automatically seek the highest signal level and automatically align the radio. So you don't need to have an RF expert on site. You can just turn this thing on. It will, within about 3 minutes, identify the remote end of the link and establish that connection. So it's a quick way to establish connectivity into areas without having to do a lot of network planning and send a lot of technical expertise into the field. And then last but not least, we have our Wi-Fi portfolio. This is a CN Pilot product that is available in a number of different enterprise outdoor applications, and you'll see coming soon is a ruggedized 11AC based product, the E500, that will be a significant capability, especially when it's mated with the point-to-point and point-to-multipoint solutions from Cambium, as far as being able to put enterprise-grade Wi-Fi capabilities, meaning both performance and security, into these substations where you don't today have access to the network. All of this is tied together with Link Planner. Link Planner is a free tool available on our website to do point-to-point, point-to-multipoint planning, bill of materials generation. You can do a number of what-if scenarios. Once I've selected a technology, I can decide what's the best spectrum to use. Within that spectrum, what's the best product to use, and then even different what-if scenarios around what if I change to a larger antenna size, what if I go to a narrower channel bandwidth. And it will provide you with not only the link capacity, but also the availability. So you'll know what is the reliability of that link over a long period of time. And then here's a couple of screenshots on CN Maestro. You can see this gives you a nice geographical map of the network. It gives you an inventory view as well as a hierarchical view of the devices in your network. It will give you the quick status for whether the device is up or down, alarms, as well as in some cases, allow you to do zero-touch provisioning. So I can pre-provision and pre-stage this equipment before it goes out to the field, and then when it shows up in the field, it automatically provisions. So that's kind of the general overview. It gives you a sense of what the utility applications are, as well as a quick overview of the product portfolio. I covered a lot of material in a short amount of time. Is there any questions, Andrew?
Yeah, one question came in here. Is there a radome available for the 900 megahertz antenna?
We don't. So I think the question is referring to the 900 megahertz Yagi antenna and whether there's a radome for that. So we don't currently sell one of those as part of our portfolio. There may be some of those available from third parties. Maybe that'd be a good question maybe to put out onto the community forum, and we'll see what others are using for that device. But Cambium does not sell a radome for that device.
Thank you. Anyone else have any further questions, please? Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to recommend joining our social media pages from Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google. Great opportunity to tell us your story and see specifically what you guys are looking into deploying and what you guys like and would like to share with us. And then I know Bruce just mentioned sharing your ideas with the community. It's a great forum where we can connect. Tell us about your story. What have you deployed? What you like? What would you like to have changed? Certain additions and updates. We love to hear from you guys with any ideas you have. It's all great to see. And we obviously are very responsive and always connecting with everyone on there. Bruce, we did have one more question that came in here. Does Link Planner price out systems?
Link Planner will give you a bill of materials, so it'll give you all of the radios and accessories, cables, all those things that you need to make up a complete system, and then it will generate that bill of materials. It won't give you the exact price, but you can contact your the Cambium channel partner, and they can take that direct Link Planner file, and they can very quickly generate a quote from that and give you the pricing on that.
And then Bruce, the last question came in here. Is there a competition this quarter?
Yes, there is. And I thought I had a slide on it. Sorry about that. There is going to be, last quarter we had a very successful video competition for point-to-point links in difficult environments. This quarter we're looking for videos of applications in the enterprise and industrial space. So if you have a link that's deployed in a utility, if you have a link that's deployed in oil and gas, or any kind of enterprise like a corporate campus or that sort of application, if you submit that video through our community forum during the month of April, then we will be selecting the winners. And the winners of this, at least last month, the winners received point-to-point 650 for first place, and point-to-point 450i for second place, and Cambium gear for many of the first through fourth, I believe. So it'll be similar prizes in April, and again, that's for industrial and enterprise applications. And we're looking for the best videos from around the world that you can then, and if you'd like to, you can still go on the website and see the submissions from last month for the difficult P2P links. And that was really some interesting videos out there. If you take a look, some people have done some nice things with drones and being able to see what they've done with the different installations. So definitely worth checking out. There's pretty cool videos out there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bruce. Well, I believe that's all we have for today. If there are no further questions, I want to thank everyone for joining. I recommend posting those videos as soon as possible. And like Bruce just said, you can look at what the old posts have been, and you can kind of get a general idea of how that you can use. And we will be voting on those as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a great day and a great evening.